So I have the distinct honor and privilege for my first time being back here at the police department of introducing a new officer who actually happens to not be here tonight because we're making him work. But it is Officer Zachary Wattis. Officer Wattis will eventually be assigned to one of our night shift platoons. He is a graduate of George Mason University, where he was a Division I track star. So you make sure you tell all the people in your neighborhoods that don't like to follow the law. And as we speak, he comes in right on time. East Carolina. Why did I say George Mason? Who went to Mason? Yeah, same thing. East Carolina. So you make sure, take a picture. If you're going to run from the Culpeper Police Department, make sure it's not him. He will catch you. Zachary graduated from the academy last month and has been going through his field training process, first with Officer Grimes, and now he's with Officer Barone and his partner. And so he's learning a lot of things, and we're looking forward here in about 8 weeks to sending him out in his own car. So please welcome Officer Wattis, Culpeper Police Department.
Thanks, you guys. Thank you.
Okay. Thanks for coming in. Speech. Oh, you got to say speech? You got anything you want to say?
As you said, I'm Officer Wattis. I haven't been out here too long, but I'm very excited to protect and serve the community of Culpeper.
Come to the mic.
I'm originally from Spotsy County, and as you said, I went to school in North Carolina, but I knew I wanted to move back to Virginia. My dad's former law enforcement, so I've always wanted to do this, and he knows a lot of the people here at Culpeper and introduced me to everybody, and such a great group of people here, and I knew I wanted to be a part of this agency, so I'm very excited to get out on the road and protect the community. Thank you.
That was a pretty impressive speech. Now you can come introduce Sergeant McGuckin. All right, so next I get to introduce our guest speaker, and it's going to be Sergeant Detective Norma McGuckin, who has been here with Culpeper Police Department for 18 years. She's been in patrol. I think she was worked in a park attendant originally. She's been in CID, street crimes. She's kind of done it all. Right now, she's our resident expert on one of her topics tonight, which would be missing juveniles and the Office of the Refugee Resettlement. And probably most notably, just yesterday, Sergeant McGuckin was awarded and recognized by Attorney General Jason Miyares as one of the unsung officers of the year down in Richmond. So very proud of her for that. And that's just one of the few awards that probably she's getting. I've had the privilege of kind of working with her in a lot of cases, working for her on a lot of cases, and can tell you that she's probably one of the finest, if not one of the best supervisors we have here in our office. So without further ado, Sergeant McGuckin.
Good afternoon, and thank you for being here. And I think we're going to start tonight by showing you guys a video of report that we did with Script News so that you guys can get a feel of what the topic is going to be.
Friday evening, and welcome. We begin tonight with that joint investigation by Scripps News and the Center for Public Integrity. It involves thousands of migrant children who might have disappeared from the system altogether. It is a troubling finding when you consider record numbers of migrants continue to pour across the U.S.-Mexico border. Many are children, and many of them are alone. The Biden administration puts them in homes with sponsors, but then what happens next? Our investigation found thousands of those children are now disappearing from those sponsor homes. Our Scripps News investigative correspondent Patrick Terpstra joins us tonight. And Patrick, there are also concerns the federal government isn't doing enough to track them down.
That's right, Dylan. To really zero in on this, we picked Culpeper, Virginia. It's a town with a very large Guatemalan population and a lot of sponsors who have taken in migrant children, only to see so many of them disappear.
These are the faces of migrant runaways.
Children who came across the southern border alone were placed by the U.S. government with an adult sponsor and then vanished. Kids like 15-year-old Yenny, who was last spotted with a black backpack getting into a white pickup truck. No one will say where she went. Selena was just 16 when she ran away from her sponsor's home weeks ago. Cesar, also 16, left his uncle's home one day and never returned. Each of these children disappeared from the small town of Culpeper, Virginia, about a 2-hour drive from Washington, D.C.
This is all my missing kids are here.
These files are pretty thick. It's Culpeper Police Detective Norma McGuckin's job to try to find them. And she says her cases all seem to unfold the same way.
The sponsor will take him in, or her, and then within 30 days tops, a couple days sometimes, and then the child just picks up and leaves.
You called this a crisis.
We have 21 missing still.
That's a crisis.
On a small town,
Yeah.
very small town.
Every chance she gets, McGuckin drives through these neighborhood streets looking for any sign of the missing kids. Pretty much all these neighborhoods, you can point to a house where
Yes.
an unaccompanied minor has run away.
Yes, on this side back here.
Since she became a detective here in 2018, she's managed to find 15 of them. But more keep running away every year.
Could the sponsors be doing more to keep the kids safe in their homes?
I don't know that there's much that they can do. Basically, they are told by the parent back home, that's not what they went there for. You know, they didn't go there to go to school, they went there to work.
More than 500,000 unaccompanied minors have come into this country since 2018. And over 6,000 of them have reportedly run away from their sponsor homes.
They're somebody's children. I always worry that they may be in trouble somewhere, being taken advantage of. That's my worry.
She told us she's especially worried about Horlandina Lopez Perez.
She came into the country pregnant.
She was 16 when she vanished.
This case is unique in that you have a baby missing as well as a minor.
Correct.
There's paperwork for her when she was still pregnant.
We obtained this body camera video of the moment police arrived at the home of her sponsor. The woman tells police she came back from work one day and realized Horlandina was gone, along with her 4-month-old baby boy. We wanted to know if the sponsor had heard anything from Horlandina in the months since, so we tracked her down at her home. She agreed to talk to us on her porch. Where is Horlandina today?
La verdad no sé.
Are you worried about her?
Sí, porque yo no sabía dónde está. Ojalá que sí, ella sí está bien.
So normally...
It's the kind of dead end Detective McGuckin is used to. She says finding any of these children is a process riddled with hurdles. But we were surprised when she said the biggest obstacle is the U.S. government and its Office of Refugee Resettlement, which is responsible for looking after these kids until they're placed with a sponsor.
When you call that office, what happens?
Sometimes it depends on who I get on the phone, but most times I don't get much.
What do they say about why they won't give you this information to help you track down these missing kids?
They're just not allowed.
The agency keeps case files for every unaccompanied child that enters this country, including photos, birth certificates, and addresses for other family members. It's invaluable information McGuckin says she could be using to find these kids. Dozens of police reports we obtained document her interactions with this agency. In one case, a government social worker tells her it was against their policies to share a photo of a missing 14-year-old, even though the detective stressed without one, it was like looking for a ghost. No one from the Office of Refugee Resettlement was permitted to speak to Scripps News, so we sat down with Robert Carey. He led the office during the Obama administration.
Is this office standing in the way of finding missing children?
No, absolutely not.
Carey says the office would share information about migrant children with police like McGuckin, but only if it was requested in writing.
But if an officer calls and says, I've got a missing child, I think the child could be in danger, can I get a photo? Can I get family contact information? Why not just give that officer that information?
What's to prevent you or me from calling and saying, I need a photograph of a child. I need their background information.
But these are missing kids. These are missing children.
Right, and their vulnerability and their safety is paramount. You have to determine it's not a trafficker. It's not someone looking to exploit a child. And that requires some degree of verification.
Even though verification takes time.
Yes, it does, but you do not want to put a child in more danger than they would otherwise be.
A few months after Scripps News and the Center for Public Integrity began asking questions, we noticed the Office of Refugee Resettlement published a policy detailing how police can lawfully obtain personal information about migrant children.
Was this office taking this issue seriously if it was really only until August 2023 that they actually published how local law enforcement could get vital information about runaway children?
There were communications with local law enforcement in many instances. It wasn't publicly posted on a website. That doesn't mean it didn't exist.
We found out that the office's national call center received nearly 7,000 calls reporting a child missing. What do you think when you hear that number?
It's concerning. It's absolutely concerning. And I think it requires, further investigation.
Do you worry about these kids?
Constantly, yes. I think these children are particularly vulnerable. They're not arriving with parents or guardians. It's all about protecting the safety of children.
For Detective McGuckin, those efforts to protect the safety of Culpepper's missing children have for too long been getting in the way of her work to try to find them.
This is frustrating for you.
It is.
Why?
Because it's making my job harder. I'm doing everything I can possibly, but I can only go so far with the information I'm given.
She told us she'll never give up on these kids, but knows the chances of finding them decrease with every passing day. And Del, it can sometimes be hard to really inject a sense of urgency about finding these kids because we're talking about, for the most part, teenagers, and it's not like they've been abducted. Most of the time, in fact, these sponsors know, while they can't say where the kids have gone, they suspect that the kids have run away on their own in order to find money. Del.
I know Culpeper well, though. That is a lot of missing kids. Patrick, this information seems to be very frustrating for Detective McGuckin, who is on the ground trying to find these children. Does she have other ways to get information about them?
Well, she does, and we should say that since people have started to really ask questions about this, she's having an easier time getting things from the federal government. If it's not the Health and Human Services Department, sometimes she will go to Immigrations and Customs Enforcement. If that doesn't work, though, where do teenagers spend a lot of their time? Online, social media. So she will look around there to see what she can find. What have they been posted? Where have they been? That sort of thing. But there is nothing like getting that information, a photo, contact information for other family. That is something that the federal government has and that she could really use that she oftentimes just can't get.
And Patrick, what do we know about the children who do run away?
Well, a lot of them are looking to work. It is a difficult thing because the sponsors, when they take a child, they pledge to keep the kid in school and to go to immigration proceedings. But the kid has come here a lot of times in order to pay off a debt, perhaps to a smuggler that's helped them cross the border, or they want to send money back to families at home. And the only way they sometimes see that they can do that is to actually run away, because if they stay with the sponsor, then they will have to go to school, and it can be illegal for them to work an actual legal job until they're in the country as a documented immigrant. Del, very tough.
Our investigative correspondent, Patrick Terpstra, tonight. Patrick, as always, we thank you very much.
Well, and
Let's go help people customize and save with Liberty Mutual.
and with that, I have a small PowerPoint coming up. Just kind of explaining exactly, how the Office of the Refugee Resettlement, which I will refer to as the ORR, and as you saw in the clip there, they did change their policy back in August of 2023, where it's a little bit easier for me to get the information that I need, although I still have to, do some jumping and I'm pretty sure every time I call that number, they have a flag in there, oh no, she's calling again. Right. So the Office of the Refugee Resettlement, or the ORR, go to the next slide. Basically, it's a program of the Administration for Children and Families, and they're under the umbrella of the Department of Health and Human Services. And basically, the definition of a unaccompanied child, or what they refer to as a UC, is basically someone under the age of 18 that comes into the country and they don't have any legal status. They don't have a parent, they don't have a family member or anybody that can take care of them or be responsible for them. Some of the services that they provide once the child comes into the custody, basically, the child comes in custody of Border Patrol, and within 24 hours, they're placed into the ORR for placement. They take them to different shelters around the country, and they provide services such as classroom education, healthcare, mental health. They give them legal services. They also have about 30 days from the time that they're placed under the ORR shelter. They have 30 days to find them a sponsor or a family member in the country that will take responsibility for this child. Go to the next one. As you can see, this is just data that I got from their website for the FY 2023. The total number of referrals meaning kids that were placed into the ORR, were 118,138. And the ages breakdown, as you can see, we've had one of our cases, the youngest one was 13. But the majority of them is between 15 and 17 years old, what we have. And as you can see there, the majority are from Guatemala, and that's what we see here. You know, the majority of my cases, I say probably all of them are from children that come from Guatemala. And majority of them are males. And as you can see at the bottom here, as of between October 2023 and February this year, they've had 1,900 minors that were released in Virginia, and that's all over the state. So go to the next one. So right now, when that video clip was recorded, we had 21 cases active. Right now, we have 22. And since 2019, that's when we started seeing that trend. And since 2019, we've had 38 cases that we have investigated, and successfully we have found or located 16 of them, safely, of course. Again, they come unaccompanied. They don't have a parent with them when they come here. And basically, their purpose to come here is to work. They're trying to find jobs that they can make money and send back home. The sponsors most times are family members, but we've also found that it could be a relative, like a very, very distant relative that they never met, or it could be just somebody that their parents back home have, you know, a friendship with, or they knew from their village. So most times when I'm having the most difficulty finding information on the child is because the person that had him here or the person they were placed with don't know anything about the kid. You know, they don't know their date of birth. They don't have any information. So when the kid runs away and they come here to report it, and I'm asking all these questions, they don't have that. And that's when I have to call back to the ORR, and we start jumping through hoops. Go ahead. So right now, these 3 posters are basically the 22 children that we're still looking for. And the youngest one right now is 14, which will be the young kid here at the corner. Orlandina and her son are still also on the list. We do not have any information on where they are. Most times I do contact their parents back home, and that gives me the indication that they do know where their children are, because their questions that I ask, they will say, no, they're not missing. You know, I know where they're at, but I don't. So they know where their children are, they're just not telling me. So, but because of our policies, and we want to make sure that these children are not taken advantage of, or they're being victimized somewhere else, we continue to look for them until we find them, you know, we locate them. Go ahead. And as you can see right here in this map, basically noted on there the states that basically the children are released in Virginia, but once they're run away from their sponsor's home or their family home, these are all the states that we have traced them to. So they go to Florida, Texas, they go all over the East Coast. And some of them, we have located them in those states as well, so, go ahead. And this is just a short clip of how we investigate these cases. So basically, when the officers receive the report, a report is generated, and then immediately we enter all the information that we have into the National Crime Information Center and the Virginia Fusion Center. We also enter their names into the NAMES in National Missing and Exploited Children databases. NCMEC, basically what they do, they will, if I tell them this child went to Tennessee, I don't know exactly where in Tennessee, but they will start sending flyers to that area with their pictures that we provide for them. And we also do bulletins here at the office that we distribute on our social media. I don't know if you guys follow our page, but they're usually there. And then we also reach out to other localities, other stakeholders, other agencies. We work really close with the federal agencies, like immigration. A lot of the information I get it from them. We talk to consulates and, also the ORR. It depends on who I get on the phone. They might just give me a little more information than that person I talked to before. And then, like I said before, I also contact their families back home in their country. I do periodically call them once in a while just to make sure that they still have contact with the child. At least I know that their family back home, they know where the kid is and they're comfortable knowing that they're okay. And then, like the video clip said, I do spend a few hours on social media kind of scanning and looking for them. Go ahead. And that's it. So if you guys have any questions, yes, ma'am.
Where do you, when you do locate them, what are they doing? How are they existing?
Well, basically, the majority that we have found, they are located with another family member that originally they didn't disclose. Some of them do get registered in school. Some of them are actually working. But one of the things that we do here in our department is once we locate a child, we have a law enforcement agency in that locality physically check them. We have that officer or that agency go to their house to see physically the child to make sure that they're okay. But yeah, most of the times they're either working or some of them are actually enrolled in school. It depends. Yeah. Yes, ma'am.
Why do they come to Virginia?
Because the sponsors or the family members, they're here, and a lot of the, I guess, attraction to Culpeper is work.
Well, I was going to say, why Culpeper?
Yeah, work, tree work, labor, landscaping, things like that. Yeah. Yes, ma'am.
Do you have any idea how many of these children there are nationwide that come in like this?
I don't have the exact number, and I didn't even think of looking for that. I was just more focused on Virginia, but it's quite a lot.
Well, 2,000 in Virginia, or round up 2,050 states, that's 100,000.
Yeah, if you look on their website, you can see they have it break it down by state and not just really just focus on Virginia. So, yes, sir.
Have the people at ORR ever thought about, like, giving you a PIN number to identify yourself or something?
No, they haven't. We've had several meetings with them, representatives from the ORR, and some of the requests that I presented to them was, why don't let us know how many kids you bring in here, so at least that we know, we can probably provide them resources before they run away. But no, they're not allowed out.
Does the ORR do any kind of education for these kids, like before they send them to the sponsor, anything about how to look out for scams or human trafficking?
Yes. So basically, while they're in the shelters, when they're looking for a suitable sponsor to release them to, they have them in school there, and they do give them a packet of information that includes, what to look for human trafficking or, sex trafficking, what to do if this happens. But most of the times they just looking for that out and then they leave. Yeah, but they do have that information with them. Yeah.
Do you ever find any that, like the children that you have found have been abused or has been, something happened that's not?
Thankfully, I can say that so far the ones that we have found and the ones that I have been able to interview when they are located, I haven't had any indication that that's the case. Most of the girls that have run away have ended up pregnant and having kids. So, and they live with their child's father. So, yeah, no, but nothing so far that I can say is giving me the indication that they're being sex trafficked or anything like that now. Yeah. Yes, ma'am.
Any interest on the part of our senators or representatives?
Yes. So we've had a lot of support from Ms. Abigail Spanberger, and when Mr. Miyares yesterday, he's also taken a lot of interest in the matter. So yeah, we had a lot of support from them. Yeah. Yes, ma'am.
How did they get into the country?
That I don't know. I know they get to the border. A lot of them are found while they're trying to cross by Border Patrol, and a lot of them turn themselves in. So, but how they got to the border, I have no idea. Well, some of them, when they get in contact with Border Patrol, they bring them in. So basically, Border Patrol brings them in, puts them under the care of the Department of Human and Services, and then they distribute them, or they take them into the ORR custody. Yeah.
And then the X number gets sent to Virginia.
Yes. So basically, I think that is based on the contact that the child has. They probably say, hey, I know an uncle or an aunt in Virginia. So that's how they end up being transported here to Virginia.
So is there any background information done on that person that's supposedly?
They do. I don't know to what extreme or how in-depth their background investigation is on the person that they're going to release the child to. I don't know exactly what they're looking for. But they do some sort of background checks. Yes, ma'am?
How do they work? Don't they have to have a work permit or whatever, especially if they're underage?
Well, I'm pretty sure that the work that they're doing is not, it's probably they being paid under the table. I don't know. Yeah. Right. Right. Most likely. Yes, sir.
Have y'all ever come in Bill Park? We got plenty of them up there. There's over 100 up there.
Yes, sir. Yes.
The house for all the kids they have?
Yes, sir. We haven't done that. As long as they're following the rules and they're not breaking any laws, we don't really mess with them.
But I'm telling you, I've been in these houses working on doing paint and stuff like that. And I went in one, the man told me to pull the refrigerator out, see if it was clean behind. It wasn't freezing right. I went there and pulled it out, and this little kid, maybe wasn't 2 years old. When I pulled it out, you never seen so many cockroaches in your life.
Mm-hmm.
And that little kid was standing there stomping. And to me, looked like the public would try to help them, where they could, wouldn't have to live in this mess. I mean, you got families, all of them living in one house.
Mm-hmm.
We got, houses there in, Bell Park, look like used car lots. The whole yard is full of cars, tippers, anything you want, they got it.
Yes, sir.
And I've been here 82 years, and I can't afford nothing like that. And they come in here, walking in, everybody got a big high dollar telephone, they're walking down the street, and if you don't watch them, you're one of them, because they ain't looked at you.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think it's a shame that we have to put up with that stuff in Bill Park.
Yeah. No, we work hard, trying to make everybody's life easier around,
Well, I understand that, but it's just, it kind of gets bored until you can see them walking up there in the street and not paying attention where they're going.
Yeah. Yeah.
We got kids there, I guess about, I'd say maybe 15, if they're 15. They got these 3 little mini bikes. and they go through that park line. And we got one-way streets in there, and there's some people drive the wrong way, and them kids don't know they're coming, the car's coming out of there. Somebody gonna get killed.
Yeah.
And then they're gonna drive, wanna put it on the drive. The kids shouldn't be out there with them mini bikes on the road with no helms, nothing.
Yes, sir.
No tax.
Unfortunately, we get those a lot, and that's part of the, the other portion of my presentation that I was going to talk about. Now that the weather is getting warm, you're going to see a lot of kids out. School's coming to, their summer break, so you're going to see a lot of more kids out on the street. But then one of the things that I wanted to bring up as far as, the crime trends that we see, one of the things that we want to make sure everybody ensures that they lock in their vehicles. You're not leaving anything valuable in plain sight so people can break into your car. But don't leave the doors unlocked, because that makes it much easier for them to just take it. But yeah, usually when schools are out, we usually have our officers step up patrols a lot more. And then, so hopefully we can, control that a little bit. But another thing that I wanted to bring up was other of the crime trends that we see a lot are frauds. Those are never ending. The crime trends that we see is basically people are getting scammed. They're getting phone calls. There's several different types of scams that we are working constantly. A lot of the people are targeting the elderly. They make those phone calls. Either they're saying, hey, your Social Security, something's wrong with it, you have to give me this information. Basically, Social Security is never going to call you, neither is the IRS. So when you get those phone calls, just make sure that you hang up the phone, let us know. Definitely don't give them any money. If anybody's asking you for money in order for you to receive something, it's definitely a scam, so don't give them any money. Or if they're asking you to go to the store and buy, gift cards to pay, I don't know, whatever. If you have to go to the store and spend your money to pay for something else with gift cards, you can definitely tell that that's a scam, so don't do it. And then if you get any phone calls from somebody impersonating a law enforcement officer, we're never gonna call you and say, hey, you got grand jury and you didn't show up. If you pay us this money, we're not gonna arrest you. That's not gonna happen. Another thing that a lot of cases that we have is Bitcoin. If you get a phone call saying, hey, you have to go to the bank and get $50,000 and put them in a Bitcoin machine, don't do it. You're not gonna ever see that money again. So just be aware. Follow our page. Julia's really good about posting, trends and what to do to keep yourself from being a victim of a scam. But that's all I have. Unless anybody else has any questions, I'm good. Yeah. Okay. That's it. Thank you.
All right, sir, one thing I had maybe an answer for you as well. If you go to an apartment like that, you're doing work and you see cockroaches, et cetera, one of the agencies you can call is Department of Social Services. They can go out and look at the home and help with a safety plan, help get the home cleaned, do those types of things. If you see people committing crime, whether they're kids or adults, please call us. We can come out and address motorbikes in the roadway, people driving the wrong way, all those types of things, and so we can address those for you and see if we can get a good resolution for both the children as well as you and the rest of the citizens in the area. One thing I would say, kind of add to what Sergeant McGuckin spoke about, have any of you watched the movie Sound of Freedom? Anybody seen that? In conjunction with what she's doing, the reason we worry about these juveniles, young kids, pregnant kids coming into the country is oftentimes they are exploited. Now, we've had the fortunate, information here that we don't believe that's happened to our children that are coming into the Culpeper area and then removing themselves to other places. But if you watch that movie, it kind of puts it into perspective about the trafficking that goes on, not just here in the United States, but across the world in general of young folk, particularly underprivileged young folk who may not be raised and born here, but also kids that are raised and born here. We listened to one just earlier today at the victim witness ceremony that was a survivor of trafficking. And so it happened. So that's why Sergeant McGuckin spends so much time trying to find these kids and taking the effort to make sure that they are okay. And so, again, if any of you ever have any information on juveniles that are missing, runaways, et cetera, we still want to know that. We need to know who they are. We need to try to find out where they're at and make sure that they're safe and in a safe place. All right, now, the next guest speaker is really not a guest speaker. So for the first time in the history of Culpeper Police Department, Chief Settle and the department here has created and performed an annual report for the calendar year of 2023. And that report has now been published on the Culpeper Town website for anyone to go on and review, and is also on our Facebook page. If you want to go on, there's a link on there as well that you can go on and review. And I won't steal the chief's thunder, but it talks about a wide variety of things, crimes that have occurred, trends, things within the agency, the department that we're moving forward with, different projects. It really talks about an overall and complete overview, really, of what Chief Settle has done with Culpeper Police Department in his first year of being the chief. So I'm not going to introduce him other than to say he's been here almost as long as Chief Jenkins had been. And I think he's going to try to go for that record. Right? We'll see. He's got some young kids that he's got to raise. So I think he's going to be here a while. But, so right now, Chief Settle's going to come up and go over the annual report with you.
Nice try. No, that's not true. All right. All right, Johnny K. So, as the major was saying, and first, I'm not going for that record. I think that record's unbeatable. I just want to make that point. I think Chief Jenkins' record will stand for many, many years, kind of like Kyle Ripken. It's a record that never be broken. I thought it was important, especially as the chief here at the Town of Culpeper Police Department, to provide a report card, kind of full transparency of what we done in 2023. So to make sure, to ensure you guys where your tax dollars are going, and to make you guys know and aware that you guys have a professional police department and employees, and our professional staff or civilian staff are professionals, and we are here working hard for you and working hard for our businesses and our visitors and our children as exhibited by Sergeant McGuckin. So this is our annual report for 2023. There's our goal to do an annual report each year. Next. And again, this is 39 pages. I am not going over 39 pages with you guys tonight because I know there's a lot of good rewards, prizes to be had, but just wanted to highlight that's kind of some of the things that we hit on. And please take time to go look it up, and it's some good reading material. That's a letter from me. You don't have to read that part, but it's good. But this is important, and we always try to strive. What is our mission here at the police department? And it's to provide public safety to all citizens who live, work, and play in Culpeper. And we chose that because it encompasses everybody. All who live, work, people who come into work and play, which means, again, nice segue from Sergeant McGuckin, as the ones who play as their children here in Culpeper. So Sergeant McGuckin is taking that to heart, and the time and effort she has put into these missing children, she does, I know, take it to heart. So she's just following our mission. And our value statement there is at the bottom as well. Again, I guess a brief history about the police department. Again, first police department here was formed in 1956. 3 police officers was commissioned there in 1956, and we are who we are now. You can read that down later. This is our organizational chart. I thought it was important to kind of see how we're structured, and all of our different divisions and specialties that we have up there. Obviously, on the left-hand side is all of our operational staff, our patrol units, and a number of patrol units and supervisors we have on those units. And then the right is the kind of the support staff as well. Our command staff, so it's important for you guys to know who our command staff is, and that there's the pictures there. It's all kind of self-explanatory. It's some fine, good-looking people up there. Very proud of. And then we put our new hires for 2023. So Mr. Wattis will be up there next year as a new hire. No, he's up there now. I'm sorry. Mr. Campfield's in the back. I was looking at William Campfield. He'll be up there next year as a new hire. But Luke Altman, he was here before, came back to us from Fairfax. Catherine Payne, we kind of took her from Charlottesville City. And Mr. Wattis, we took him off East Carolina's campus, and we got 3 good ones there in 2023. And we all talked about our promotions and advancements for 2023. Obviously, myself included there. Captain Terrell, I think he's in the room somewhere. Yeah, celebrity himself. Lieutenant Lass, Sergeant Campbell. And then our promotions on our part of our career ladder, we promoted Master Police Officer Matthew Hayes as a Master Police Officer, and then Officer Danks and Officer Sane came up our career ladder. They were PO1s, and they became PO2s in 2023. So that's what that's about. So it's not just promotions, but also advancements in our career ladder. It talks about our various awards here. Chamber of Commerce Awards, MAD Awards. I know Johnny K is working the best with me. Sons of American Revolution Award, Salem Realty Club. So all these officers have done something extraordinary or heroic and or saved a life, and were able to get an award from these civic organizations, which is always nice. So now we kind of get into meat. So it's a lot of statistical data, and I'm not going to hit on every single stat that's on here, but there's a couple on there. So our crime data is by the FBI. Our FBI kind of controls how the crime data is structured and how we tabulate the crime data through NIBRS and IBR, and I don't know what those acronyms stand for, but you can Google them. I don't know what they stand for myself. But crimes against person, crimes against property, and crimes against society. So there's a list of crimes on each one of those 3 headings that the FBI keeps statistics on. So crimes against person obviously are your assaults, your aggravated assaults, your homicides, your human trafficking, kidnapping, and sex offenses. So as you can see here, we take our average off the 5. All the stats you'll see in our report is based on a 5-year average. We think that paints a better picture of where we were in 2023 with taking that 5-year average. So go back, Johnny, I'm sorry. So if you look back for our 5-year average, it shows a 7% increase in those crimes against persons. And if you look at the numbers hard, I mean, numbers do tell a story, but not maybe the whole story. The second item down, simple assaults, like your misdemeanor assaults, that number, although it's a 7% increase, that's our biggest numerical data point. So that really jumped that percentage up, even though it's only jumped 7% up. It went from 216 to 232, which all the other numbers are relatively low numbers, obviously, which is a good thing for Culpeper, that we don't have homicides and the serious violent felonies. That most of our stuff is the simple assault varieties. If you have any questions as we go, I know I'm speeding through this. You guys can read this at home and give me a call, and we can discuss it further. But I'm kind of skimming through. Crimes against property, these are all your destruction of properties and counterfeitings and motor vehicle thefts. And a couple highlights there is, as you see a 3% increase from the 5-year average, we're really only a 1% increase from 2022. But again, the biggest driver there, thanks, John. You're good with that. Zoom in. Okay, you can zoom out now. The biggest driver there is the big number there. What you guys are concerned with in your neighborhoods and your streets is destruction of properties. So we get a lot of destruction of properties in our neighborhoods. The good news here is, if you look at destruction of properties, it went down 20% from last year and down 19% for a 5-year average. So it went from 158 to 127, a number of destruction of properties, which is a good thing. The increases really occurred. I'll tell you what's concerning for us is motor vehicle thefts. As you can see, motor vehicle thefts is 38% increase from last year to this year, and a 29% increase from the 5-year average. And that's mostly related to juveniles. We'll talk about juvenile crime here in a second. And the whole fad of the ease of stealing certain motor vehicles. Was it Hyundais and Kias? Yeah, you can go on Amazon and buy the tool to steal cars. And we've had a few of those as well. So that's kind of the driver there as well. But relatively, the crimes that make a difference, we saw some decreases in, which makes a difference. Crimes against society, these are like your drinking, drug offenses. The good news there is, overall, we saw a 6% decrease in crimes against society. And the drug, thanks, Johnny K. You're good at that. If you go back up, the drug offenses, what I know everybody's concerned about, of course, we're concerned about drug, narcotic violations. 5-year average, we're at 13% decrease in those cases. However, we saw a 31% increase from last year to this year. So, but a 13, which is good and bad news, right? The bad news is the drugs are out there. The good news is we're enforcing that and making arrests. So it's kind of, a double-edged sword there. We certainly don't want the drugs in our community, but if they're here, we want to make sure we're enforcing the drug issues and holding those accountable. So arrest and use of force, that top column up there, just I'll skim over again. Adults, it's kind of been stayed kind of steady across the 5-year average there. 2023, we had 1,300, a little over 1,300 adult arrests. Although it's a decrease from 2022, it's still an increase from the last 4 years. We saw 2022 as kind of an anomaly year. Everything kind of spiked in 2022. We really don't know the reasoning for that, but 2023 we saw the numbers kind of averaging back down from the other 5 years. The ones we worried about is the juvenile crime. As we see in 2022, 27 arrests of juveniles. 2023, we saw 46 arrests in juveniles. So that is concerning for us, and it should be concerning for any community. And it ties back into the stolen cars and things like that, and trends and fads and stuff like those type of incidents. You'll see arrest by race there. We track race and ethnicity numbers and everything we do. Arrest. You'll see those numbers there. Johnny K, can zoom out. 68% of all persons we arrested were white, 32% were African American, and then a couple others there. And that is somewhat representative of our demographics here in the town of Culpeper. A big number for us that we certainly keep track of is the number of use of forces we have. We don't want use of force incidents. Unfortunately, there comes times where we have to use some type of force to bring someone into custody. Last year, we had, wherever that total is on the left-hand side, use of force is there. Now, it's somewhat misleading. We have 26 physical, and you might say, what's a physical use of force? That's anything beyond normal handcuffing techniques. So if I tell you that you're under arrest, put your hands behind your back, and you put your hands behind your back, and I put handcuffs on you, that's not a use of force. But anything goes beyond that type of scenario, that situation where if they try to resist or fight, or we have to take them to the ground or put them against the car to beyond normal handcuffing techniques, that's a physical use of force. So we provide that statistic. So whenever we have a use of force, an officer has to do a use of force report. It gets looked at by a supervisor. They look at the body-worn camera videos and all other evidence, and it forwards all the way through the chain to myself for review, and then we go back to the officer for any kind of remedial training or discipline that we need to take care of. So that's kind of the procedure. So we have 26 displays of use of force. Now the big numbers, the 23 and the 12 is CEW display, and that's the acronym for a conductive energy weapon. That's our tasers. So when we say displayed, it means we displayed it on something, we didn't use it, we just displayed it. So we do track that as well. A lot of agencies don't track that. We think it's important to track that. It's a show of force, I bet you can argue, not really a use of force, but we'd still track that. We had 12 of those, and the firearms displayed, again, taking the firearm out, when we take the firearm out and we show it to a suspect to gain compliance, we did 23 of those. That's not firing the weapon, that's just a show display of the weapon. So a felony traffic stop, if we have a stolen car, if we do a felony traffic stop and the officer gets out and displays the firearm, that's a use of force display, show of force. So we track that as well. So if you really look at, if you take those numbers out, that we're really not putting our hands on someone, we're really below the national standard of use of force use of force incidents for a town our size. The good news is in 2023, we didn't have any complaints of use of force, excessive use of force. So that's, we always look at that as well. And then if we do have a complaint of excessive use of force, that's a straight internal affairs investigation. We investigate that on an administrative side. Sometimes that goes to the criminal side as well for criminal referral. Yeah, go ahead. Rip hobble is when someone's not compliant. It's a device you put around their legs so they can't kick you. It's a hobble restraint. So you cinch it down around their ankles, and you kind of control their feet if they're kicking. Good question. It's a lot of terminology there. Use of force by incidents, interesting number. You see alcohol as the main player of those while we use force. Drugs, and then those that are mentally compromised is the way the FBI kind of terms that stat. All right, John, okay. And on the bottom of there, it talked about how all officers receive use of force and de-escalation training every year. Any questions on that? I know I'm kind of skimming through this. You guys read this at home at your due leisure, and give me a call. We'd love to discuss it. Talking about our operations division. So we have our patrol operations, and it kind of talks about what that looks like. Part of our operation divisions is traffic enforcement. So that shows a list. I know you can't see it, but you can read it at home. It shows all the selective enforcement locations we did for 2023. So when you guys are complaining about speeding or motorbikes in Bell Park, we put on our selective enforcement list. That means officers are required to go out and do that selective enforcement. And then it talks about, we track the total number of hours, the total number of summonses that were issued in those areas. As you can see, most of our complaints are speeding and stop sign violations that we get from citizens. And this is all citizen generated. So when you guys call us about a traffic issue, this is what this looks like for us, and we have the way we enforce it. Question? Anybody questions? I thought I saw a hand up.
I do.
Yeah, go ahead.
Can you tell us there's references to platoons?
Yeah.
But what is that? What's different than first
So,
and second? All that?
yeah, so we have 4 patrol platoons. So we have 2 day shift platoons, we have 2 night shift patrol platoons, and that's just where they're assigned. So the 2 day shift platoons, they work 12-hour shifts on a 12-hour rotation, and the 2 nighttime platoons work a 12-hour rotation. So we always have 24/7 coverage.
But it could be called a shift.
It could be called a shift, yes. Different agencies call it different things. Not quite sure we call it platoon, but we do. That was our operations division. Our criminal investigations section, as you can see in the bottom there, in 2023, we had 430 cases assigned to our detectives. I think we have 6 total detectives, Andrew. So if you do that math on that, 6 into 430, it's a lot of cases that our detectives are working. But we successfully closed 311 of them. So that is, as far as an industry standard nationwide, that's a pretty good number, pretty good percentage. We always track, go back, John, okay, I'm sorry. Back to Norma's point, if you read that second paragraph, and Norma was my perfect segue. During 2023, the department saw various crime trends to include several regional theft and fraud cases, and frauds were really the driver of that crime increase. Retail store burglaries, specifically targeting tobacco products, that we have seen, electronic currency scams, motor vehicle thefts, and continued increase of runaway juvenile cases. So Norma's kind of stole my thunder there for a good way. But you'll see that is bad. The good news is a lot of these things, when I look at it is, a lot of these things are not neighborhood related. So we used to see a lot of smash and grabs into vehicles, or a lot of larcenies, destruction of properties, and we're not seeing that in the numbers as we see these type of cases where we see retail thefts, organized retail thefts, burglaries, and stuff like that. Most of our burglaries are, if not all, are commercial burglaries. I think we had one residential recently, but most are business related. We talk about calls of service. Again, that's a big number for a lot of agencies, kind of tout what kind of calls of service they have. So you'll see, again, 2022 was kind of an anomaly year. It was kind of the spike there, but not much, 52,000 calls of service, where in 2023 we went back down to 49,000, one over 49,000. So you kind of see it kind of went back to the norm, kind of spiked. And then at the bottom there, as Johnny K. panned down, you talk about what type of calls of service. So That 16,000 number for 2023, that's actually calls that you guys call in, say there's an issue, and we respond to. That 8,234 is the number of officer-initiated calls where traffic stops, or we go out and make a interdiction stop for narcotics or anything like that, where it's not citizen-based call. And then we have directed or extra patrols. We have 23,739. That's where you guys call us and say, hey, Bell Park, we have this issue. Can you come patrol our neighborhood? We put on a directed patrol list. So the officer goes out and does that directed patrol for that neighborhood, looking for those issues that you talked about. And that's what those kind of generate from. Or some of those calls are, if Miss Underwood says she's going on vacation for 2 weeks, she says, hey, can you guys come check my house for 2 weeks? That's that type of call as well. So it's a variety of those calls for direct extra patrols.
You do that?
Yes, we do. We've always done it. So if you go on vacation, you go out of town, give us a call, we'll come check out your house at nighttime. And daytime too, if you need it. But most that's nighttime related if people go on vacation. That's a service we provide. Don't cost you a dime. Any questions on calls of service? We're a busy little town for the size of town we have. Our calls of service are right there with some of the other sizable agencies next to us. And when I tell people our calls of service and our self-initiated calls, my peers are somewhat amazed. Our Law Enforcement Explorer program, again, I'll tout this all day. It's a great program. Our PIO, Julia Cole is the advisor for that, the primary advisor for that. So I think we have 13 now explorers. So they meet every 2 weeks. So Facebook friends at home, and you guys here, if you have a ninth grader and up, ninth grader to 20, right? So a ninth grader to 20 years old, they can come in. It's free of charge. They provide, and I always like this. The goal of the program is to provide young adults an effective program designed to build desirable qualities of character, to train the Johnny K messed me up. To train the responsibilities of, oh, there he messed me up again. The goal, okay, Johnny K, stay right there. The goal of the program is to provide young adults an effective program designed to build desirable qualities of character, to train the responsibilities of participating in citizenship, and to educate and prepare them for a career in law enforcement. So that's a great kind of mission for law explorers. So they do a lot of fun things. We got a trip to DC coming up for National Police Week, so I know they're going to DC for that. So next. Yeah, community policing. Now we'll always tout our community policing. So we talked about all the enforcement and all the crime, which we do very well on the enforcement side. I always say. But man, we do community policing pretty well too, and I'm very proud of our staff and the community policing efforts that we do in engaging with our community. As we can see, some of these projects over the 2023, our Blue Red Santa project that we partnered with the fire department on, is always a great program for us, and we always looking for volunteers on that. Okay, anything else there, Johnny K? Our neighborhood walks that we started last year, we picked neighborhoods. I think we got a neighborhood walk coming up that was canceled. We're postponing next week. So Sally's going to walk us around the neighborhood. The Dumfies too, maybe they're going to walk us down. Yeah, the Dumfies are serving hot dogs, maybe. So looking forward to that next week. We have coffee with cops. Gosh, we do so much. National Night Out. We had an open house last year. It was a tremendous success. We opened our doors, let the community come in, see what we do, see what we're about. That is coming up again this year, May 31st. May 31st, we're doing that again this year. It was such a big hit, kind of an open house for everybody to come in. Coffee, so we do a lot of stuff. The back to school event we do for school supplies for children, it's a big event. We also partner with Antioch Baptist Church on. Oh, next slide. And our trading cards was a big hit last year. Everybody knows about our trading cards. In 2023 was probably our highlight of our community policing program. So it was a huge hit. Kids were literally stopping us in the streets, waving their hands, wouldn't let us go by until we gave them a card. That happened to me a couple times. That's the truth. We're still handing out cards. I still keep them on me. Kids are still asking for them. A lot of adults are asking for them. So what a tremendous hit. So it was. So some people said kids don't do trading cards anymore. It's not going. Heck, shoot. We were handing things out like candy. Also, then Captain Terrell, he gave him a lot of credit. He kind of took over the program and kind of did a contest for all the children who collected all the cards, and they were really hustling the cards, all of them. And some of them were kind of hard to get, so the kids were really hustling those cards. So we had our winners there. We brought them in for pizza, and they got prizes. A lot of businesses donated some prizes for them. So we brought them all in, all the kids who collected all the cards. So it was a fun time that day when we brought them all in. Several other community outreach programs, Carry the Load, again, National Night Out, Special Olympics Torch Run, which is coming up May 18th.
17th, or sorry, 18th.
See, I was
17th
right.
is the kickball
I
game.
was right. It's right here. That's coming up. National Police Week's coming up. 5K is coming up. So, again, it's always nonstop. Pamper Me Pink, we always involved with. Memorial Day, Reads Across America, we're involved with. It's nonstop, but we like it, we enjoy it, and we like working with our community. Then we kind of highlighted our 2023 Amazing Citizen Award recipients, as you can see there. Obviously, Chief Jenkins was the kind of first one for 2023, and Dave and Joanne Durr, and R.E. Dean, Perry Smiley, and Charles Jameson. So what a great group of Call Peppertonians there that we gave awards to. So I will give a quick announcement on the Amazing Citizen Award. The Chris R. Jenkins Amazing Citizen Award. In June, we will have Amazing Citizen Award nominee celebration, and then we kind of reformat. And my staff doesn't even know this. We talked about it, but it hasn't been settled. But I had to meet with Chris Jenkins yesterday morning for coffee to get the go-ahead for this. We have decided to, instead of making an every other month event and kind of taking away from the neighborhood watch meeting, we decided to take nominations all year round and do one big banquet at the end of the year, and do one big banquet dinner and have the nominees come in for one big banquet dinner. So we think that's more special for the honorees, and it kind of gives you guys your own time without having anything attached to it. So we'll have one in June, and then after the fiscal year, and then we'll take a break, and then at the end of the year we'll take nominations, and we're not limiting ourselves to how many nominations we take and how many award winners. It could be 1, it could be 6, it could be 10. Depends on you guys and how many nominations we get for those deserving, and we'll do one big banquet at the end of the year. So we've decided to do that and kind of mix some things up and give your time to you and separate the Amazing Citizen stuff, if that makes sense. Traffic operations, we are busy. As Sergeant McGuckin stated, this time of year when the weather breaks, air traffic complaints increase expeditiously. So air traffic guys and our community policing people have been very busy the past couple weeks, taking care of some issues in neighborhoods across town. But they stay pretty busy. So segue into that, we talk about our traffic citations and traffic summonses. Again, 2023 wrote approximately a little over 1,900 traffic summonses, 525 warning summonses. I believe that's warning summonses there, yep. Had 108 DUI arrests, and we wrote 961 parking tickets for 2023. What's most important to me is the crash data, because we all enforce traffic to reduce crashes, and that's really the ultimate goal of the police department. Is a lot of people say, "Oh, to make money, to get revenue." That's not true. We don't see $1 of any revenue from a traffic crash, from a traffic ticket. We do enforcement to reduce crash data. As you can see in 2023, we had no fatal car crashes in the town of Culpeper, which is good. As you can see in 2022, we had 2. Personal injuries, let me zoom back out, John K. Personal injuries, we had 83, which was a decrease from 2022 when we had 107. And it's still a little lower than the 5-year average of 89. So again, that's good news. And statewide, traffic crashes and personal injuries are down statewide, which is good news, right? Crashes are going down. What's going up is pedestrians are going up. So that is, I just talked to the state police the other day, and they said that the crash data is going down, but the pedestrian struck are going up. And we're seeing it right here in Culpeper as well.
Hey, Greg.
Yeah.
I hate to interrupt you, but if you going through town and kids got them cellular phones, they come to the intersection, you gotta watch them, because if they don't, they're talking on that there, they'll walk right in front of us. I've had them come out between cars in front of me, and I had to slam on brakes.
Yeah.
I mean, they don't pay no attention to what they're doing when they're going in phone.
It's not just kids, it's adults, it's senior citizens. So yeah, sometimes it's police officers, believe me. So we're all in the same blanket. So, but you're right. We certainly have to be cognizant of staying off our cell phones when you're driving, and it is the law. And distracted driving is a thing. I know we do some training on distracted driving, and that cell phone is probably the main culprit for distracted driving. And you're right. New drivers, teen drivers, and drivers in their 20s with less experience, they're still learning the skill of driving, and we certainly don't want a cell phone in their hand or to their ear while they're driving. But adults, we're just as guilty as everybody else. So, as we can see, pedestrians, again, we were at one less than last year. So we had in 2022, we had 8 pedestrians struck. 2023, we had 7. But the 5-year average is 5. So we're still above that 5-year average. So we had 7 pedestrians struck last year. So we did see a problem area where pedestrians were getting struck there on 29 North Business, right there kind of between the traffic circle and Taco Bell, that stretch of roadway there. And they were predominantly all happening at night. And we determined that a lot of the causal factors there was, one's volume, 2 is heavy foot volume of people who live in that area going to the shopping center, and 3 was lighting. So council took it upon themselves after hearing the issue and provided funding for some lights to go up on 29 North in that area to prevent pedestrians struck. And I'll be happy to report we have the first 4 lights up there now in the most problematic area. So lights are working there now. And there's future plans to run lights all the way from the traffic circle all the way to Taco Bell and to Bell Avenue. So council, when the council heard the problem, they took initiative and provided that funding to get those lights up. So very supportive of making sure our pedestrians are safe in that section right there. The good news here is 2023 was reportable crashes. There are your more serious crashes. We had 248 of those. The 5-year average was 272, which is good. That's a decrease as the state trend is taking hold there. Unfortunately, we had 423 non-reportables. So the non-reportables, most of those are like parking lot, fender benders, those we can live with as far as personal injuries and fatalities. The good news there is the reportables are down, which is the most serious crashes. Any questions on that? I'm sorry, John. Okay, I'm sorry. I wish I had my own little clicker, but I think it's important to note intersections with highest number of crashes. We keep all that data as well. So the intersection with the highest number of crashes, as we can all probably can guess, is James Madison Highway and Knowles Mill Road. And I know the town now is actively working on a solution for that intersection. So Knowles Mill Road and 29 North.
That's a terrible, yeah.
So as you can see there, we have almost 3 times the number of crashes than our nearest intersection. They're working on that. Yes, sir. I'm not quite sure, but they are working on solutions for the intersection though. So stay tuned. Yeah, come to your council member, Mr. Lehman. Go to your council meetings. But yeah, they are working on a solution on that. A lot of smart people, VDOT in the town is working on solutions for that. Way smarter than me. But we have a support division. This is very important. We have our professional staff that does all the hard work behind the scenes for us. Like this report itself was done by our professional staff. It shows our record staff and our administrative assistants and stuff like that. They also participate in our community policing program. We think it's important for them to also be able to participate and get out some and get out with the community as well, so you guys can get to know them as well. I know that Patricia's here somewhere helping with the food tonight. But I also want to point out that from the second paragraph there, from July of 2023 to December 2023, what the increase we've seen for our support staff is we've done 95 FOIA requests, which is a lot for our agency, 95 FOIA requests. And a lot of that's because of body-worn cameras and child custody cases and stuff like that. When it's a child custody dispute, we respond and we're body-worn camera footage that those lawyers and those parties want some of that body-worn camera footage to have in court. But it's still time that our professional staff has to take out of their days to get those FOIA requests filled out. And I know the clerk's office also plays a huge part in that as well. They do our payroll and processing, all that stuff as well. As you guys know, out in the lobby, we talk about our property evidence function, our drug take-back program. I don't know how many thousands of pounds of prescription medication we've taken back over the years. It's actually amazing how much. I think we took, oh, there you go. In 2023 alone, we took 356 pounds of prescription medication out of that box out there, which is amazing. So we destroy that and take it off the street and out of the way of children and those who want to abuse narcotics. Internal Affairs, Major Nick White, as you saw earlier, he's kind of in charge of our Internal Affairs unit, and he kind of investigates all of our internal affairs in 2024. But in 2023, as you see, and these internal affairs complaints are our most serious complaints against officers. We had 3 internal affairs investigations on officers, and you can kind of see how that breakdown is. In 2023, all were sustained, which were proven to be true, and then we have not sustained, exonerated, and found it. So that's just another accountability to our citizens to make sure you guys are aware of those major complaints, how many major complaints are coming into our officers and how they're being investigated, and that they truly are being investigated. And if it is found, then officers are being held accountable. Community Policing Act. In July 1st, 2020, our General Assembly passed the Community Policing Act, which means we have to report all demographics for all traffic stops and investigative stops to the state police as the central depository. So every police department, sheriff's office, law enforcement agency in the entire state has to report their demographics monthly to the state police. And it's all available online. You can check your community's demographics online. So this is the kind of our demographics for 2023. Traffic stops by race, you can see there. So again, it kind of goes with our service population. The reason for the stop, as you can go back left, John, okay. The reason for the stop, as you can see, traffic violation predominantly takes over while we stop the vehicle. 97% of the traffic stops are for traffic violations. Stops by ethnicity. So the way the FBI handles statistics, Hispanics are considered Caucasian unless you're talking about stops by ethnicity, and then they break them out. So stops by ethnicity, you can see that there's numbers there. 73% non-Hispanic, 25% Hispanic stops. And you can see all these stats online. If you have any questions, please give us a call. Next. Training is a big part of what we do here, and I'll just go over a couple highlights for the training. Again, we're members of the Central Shenandoah Criminal Justice Training Academy, but we do a lot of in-service training in here. I know Pastor Eric Kalinga, former council member, provided all of our patrol folks with the 15 invaluable laws of growth training. It's based off a book for 15 laws by Charles Maxwell. He's the author, which is a really good program. We got a lot of good feedback from our officers from that. Leadership training, use of force training, de-escalation training. So we do a lot of training here, and we send people to a lot of training. Just last week, we did a supervisors training where we did some leadership training and some policy training, and then we played some soccer, indoor soccer to break up the day, and everybody's still sore from that. So I'm still sore from that as well. So just to break it up a little bit. We're getting to the end, I promise. We're on page 34 of 38, I think. Recruitment retention, as you can see, again, recruitment retention is ever evolving. It's a thing that we do every day, recruiting and retaining our personnel. Keeping our good personnel and hiring good personnel, it is a full-time job. Again, we did sign on to the 30 by 30 Advanced Women in Policing Initiative. So what 30 by 30 is, an initiative that we adopt policies and do some training and follow best practices of having 30% of our workforce to be female by 2030. That's what the 30 by 30 is. Again, our population, 50% are women. Every woman here will tell you the population is 51% women, but I'll say 50%. But we want our workforce to represent our population. So another place we struggle is African American recruitment. We really struggle there. We reach out to different minority groups and different publications to try to get that numbers high. I tell you, every agency in this area and across the country is struggling with this number as well. But we do our best we can, but we are, if anybody's out there who's looking for a job in law enforcement, please contact us and we will talk to you. And then probably our most popular page, we're gonna get to the fun pages now, are canines. Everybody loves canines. These are our canines. We have 4 canines here. Here's our 3 patrol-based canines. They're drug dogs and search dogs. As far as article search, they do a couple different variety of things. We have Sergeant Maymaker and his canine Raina. We have Master Police Officer David Cole and his canine Juno. And we have Officer Michael Barone and his canine Hawk. So there are 3 canines there, and they're part of the family. They roam the halls here, and we give them treats, and they work for free. So they're our cheapest employee that we can hire. And our most popular dog is Gracie, and she rides around with her partner Brittany. Lieutenant Jenkins is in the back of the room, so she is our most important canine. She's probably the most level. She's our support dog. So Brittany will take her out to different functions and kids, or we have victims that are struggling. We have employees that are struggling. It's a great tool to have Gracie run around the hallways. She was running around the hallway yesterday, and she kind of picks you up and makes you have a little bit better day that you were always having. So she's a pretty sweet girl. And then we'd be remiss not to talk 2023, talk about the retirement of Chris Jenkins there. We put a little page in there about that. That was a big part of the year in 2023, so you can read about that as we go. I'm sure he's watching at home, critiquing something. Yeah, he is. I don't want to see him no more. Yeah, I'm going to critique him. Yeah, that's him when he started. Yeah, I'm going to critique that. Zoom in, Johnny K. Chief. Well, that's enough of that. So looking ahead to 2024, we think it's important to look ahead to 2024. So we are looking to reduce our overall crime rate in 2024 by providing some proactive policing and comprehensive investigations, providing tools to our investigators to solve crime, and use emerging technologies, as we talked about in previous meetings here. You're really using technology to enhance our traffic enforcement education. Residential traffic in school zones and pedestrian crosswalks is another goal for us, to reduce incidents of traffic accidents within the town of Culpeper. So that will always be a goal of ours. Another goal is, again, recruitment, retention of best possible candidates that fit the town of Culpeper and the town of Culpeper Police Department. That's very important. Go back, Johnny K. I didn't hit all my goals there. The fourth one there is talk about providing a wellness program to our employees. Wellness is huge right now to provide support for all of our employees as far as mental wellness and physical wellness. So we are re-implementing and kind of refreshing and rebooting our Law Fit program, which is our physical part. So all the officers are excited about that. We'll go out, and if you see us at Yalmino Park struggling on all fours or our hands on our knees, please come save us from Brittany and Norma. That would be the 2 yelling at us. But also mental wellness. Last year we started, one of the first things I started was the mandated mental wellness checks for all of our employees. So we signed on to 2 mental health clinicians here locally, and all of our employees have to go to them and at least sign into them and get some self-care documents and some education. And if they want to stay in chat, they can stay in chat. If they just want to turn around and leave, they can turn around and leave. But we do provide them the opportunity to talk to a licensed mental health clinician. She kicked me out after my hour. I want more, but she only have an hour. So she told me to come back weekly. So that's one of our goals. Johnny, I'm not done yet. And also, our goal for 2024 is to respond and provide support for community activities and civic service and civic organizations. And I think we do a good job of that. You guys know that. And lastly, make sure we obtain and stay within best practices established by CALEA, the Commission on Accreditation for Law Enforcement Agencies. We're up for our reaccreditation year this year, so it's a big year for us, for CALEA, to make sure we get reaccredited, to make sure we give you guys the report card that you guys are paying for, a responsible professional police department that's following best practices nationally. So that's what we aim to do. And Johnny K, now you can hit the next button. And then that's kind of our last page, and it talks about we sincerely appreciate all of you guys for the support that we've gotten in 2023, and we look forward to your support in 2024. And then you contact us there. This is posted, again, like the Major says, posted on our website and on Facebook and our Crime Watch page as well. So I want to thank you guys for coming tonight. I want to thank you guys for listening to me to go through this. It's the first time we ever did this. I want to thank all the Facebook viewers who just went through all that. I want to thank I think the Prince William 911 communication staff's watching this. It's always good that another law enforcement agency is watching this. So hopefully you guys are having a nice, peaceful night. I saw them on Facebook. So having said that, I'll take any questions.
Yeah, people in Bill Park knew I was coming down here tonight, neighborhood watch. They want to know if y'all caught that guy was up there at the water tower the other night, whenever it was.
We have not. We are still actively looking for them. We have talked to our federal partners with the Marshal Service, and they're providing assistance as well. So we are looking, still looking for him. Yeah, we do have warrants outstanding for him, and we are actively looking for him. Go ahead.
A while back, you had a program where you had social workers riding with you, and funding ran out on that. Is that something you're trying to pursue?
So we still have that going. Encompass does have mental health professionals in our building, certain times of the day, certain days of the week. We are looking to refresh, kind of reboot the program. We have been meeting with Encompass and their director, Jim McGrath. We have a meeting next week, I think, Brittany, May 6th, to kind of reorganize, kind of reboot the program and get the program back going. So I think we're both committed to getting the program back to where we think it should be and providing those services to their citizens on the street when they need it and when it's best used for, and not, a couple days with appointment card, a couple days later doesn't do the trick. So our goal is get a mental health professional to them on the street when they need it, and not a police officer. Any other questions? Facebook, anybody? We're good? Any other questions? All right, I'll turn it over to whoever I'm turning over to. Captain Terrell, famous Captain Terrell. He does all the fun stuff.
I promise I will be brief. I won't stand between you and your door prizes, okay? There's a couple of events that we certainly would like for you to be aware of. And the first one is the community walk for Southeast Street Neighborhood Watch on May the 2nd at about 6:30. So if you live in that area, we encourage you to come out and join us for the walk. You should be in contact with your Neighborhood Watch liaison, which is MPO Al Cooper. So be on the lookout for that.
Where is this again?
Southeast Street Neighborhood Watch. Oh, Southwest?
I was gonna say,
I stand corrected then. Thank you.
Anybody's welcome.
Yes, yes. Also on May 17th, which is a Friday, there's Battle of the Badges, which is a kickball game against the police department, fire department, and the Culpeper County Sheriff's Office at 5:30 at the Culpeper High School. So if you want to see something really hilarious, come out and watch us, okay? What's that? Yeah.
will it be videoed?
I don't think we want any evidence of the crime. That's probably going to be committed out there.
It's a fundraiser for our Law Explorer program. We'll be selling raffle tickets for 50/50 raffle.
Thank you, MPO Cole. I appreciate that. Also, May 31st from 5:30 to 8:30, which is a Friday, we will have our open house here at the police department. You can come have a tour of the facility, meet the officers, and there'll probably be numerous police demonstrations to include the K-9, the drone, and our vehicles that we have within the agency. Also, we have National Night coming up on August the 6th, which is a Tuesday. This is our annual community building campaign, which promotes community policing and partnerships with the community. This is a nationwide event. So all these events that I've spoken about, you will find if you follow us on our social media platforms. There'll be more information to come, and I hope to see you.